All right, so what we're going to talk about is the Incarnate of Ghur. I think I may have already actually recorded this video, but never uploaded it. Okay, so the Incarnate of Ghur is not an endless spell. It's a thing that came out in the Battle for Fondia. Yeah? And, like, there's been some conversations about how good it is, but to quote Matt Berry...
And he's become a massive prick.
He's in every list ever. Like, if you join me for the Monday show where I do the Age of Sigmar Stat Center, yeah, I talk about this thing all the time. All the time. All the time, right? Like, all the time. It's in every list. Like, when we did the TSN UK Champions, it was in most of the lists. Like, especially the list that won, there was like the first, second, and third place players, all with their incarnates being held, yeah, like little babies, right? What is the Incarnate? It's a 400-point model that is a unit that's able to be taken in any single army. The unique problem with the Incarnate is that when you attack it, it doesn't die. It doesn't have a wounds characteristic per se, but effectively if you do 18 wounds to it, it drops down a level, and it starts at level 2. So it's got 36 wounds. Something that's comparable to it would be a Mega Gargant, which is 500 points versus 400 points, which also has 35 wounds with a 4-up save. So they're about, they're about the same, okay? But the bit that makes it boring is that it's pretty strong. It's not super strong, but very, very strong. Yeah, I don't know. Very, very somehow is lower than super. Not sure how. But it's very good, and it's in every list. Because if you've got a rubbish army, then of course you're going to... If you can spend 400 points on something else... A good example would be, I saw a Bone Splitter list the other day that was Kragnos, an Incarnate, and some Bone Splitters. It's not a Bone Splitter army. Like, and also neither is any Kragnos list. Every Kragnos list isn't if you are running a Gits list with Kragnos, you're running a Kragnos list is what you're doing, right? But the major thing for me is that it's just in every list. And if you've watched me every show on the Mondays when I go through the stats, I read all the lists that do well at events. I hear you cry from the back. Why don't you just look at all the casual and narrative stuff? Because they don't exist. They don't exist. I've never seen them. I haven't been able to read the narrative list rundown. I haven't been able to read the casual eventing list review. But I reckon it's you competitive players are a problem. Well, you're an idiot. You're just a moron. You're a moron. You're a moron. Me and my friends are having fun at events, playing games, having a great time. Leave us alone. Go and complain to your own people in your own group at your other events, okay? And me and my friends don't want to, hang out anymore with Incarnates. It stayed too long at the party. It's had too many beers, is what it has. Now, in the most recent Tzeentch book, and again, this isn't the straw that broke the camel's back. I made this same video roughly last week. God, it was boring. Yeah, God, it's boring. That's what I said. For no other crime than the crime of being dull, we should 100% ban the Incarnate from competitive play. Because, by nature, we should have loads of fun playing loads of different armies. The game has never been balanced, which is a terrible way to describe a competitive game like this. Thank you to One Eye Gamer for donating 5 gift subs. The game's never been, yeah, you fucking go, One Eye Gamer, you go. Yeah, let's go. You've never, it's never been balanced, but there's been a series of overlapping rock, paper, scissors, lever pulling, meta and analyzing combinations and tricks and pairings and all sorts of nonsense that goes into something that's incredibly complicated, like competitive Warhammer, specifically Age of Sigmar. And so with that said, yeah, it's in every list, and that makes it boring. And we should, for no other reason. If I'm paying money to go to an event, it's and it's the same thing, it's boring. You don't do it. I know some of you go to the same gig all the time, yeah? But it's like going to the movie more than once. Now, you might do it for Everything Everywhere All at Once, of course. Incredible movie. But you absolutely would not do it for Pixels. Okay, love that gig. Yeah, Incarnate that is pulled pork and sweet potato fries, uninspired and overdone. Yeah, true. It's like sriracha. You're like, why can't I just have regular mayo? When did regular mayo become bad? Yeah. Thanks, One Eye Gamer, for also donating 100 bits. Let's go. I was very tempted. Mo Ash 35. If that's you, Mo Ashraf, I fucking love you. I was very tempted to ban it from Clash next year, but wait to see how the next year looks. So I know for a fact in October it's getting a points update. Okay, and we might also see a rules update as well. Either way, I think anything you can ally in. Go back 2 years ago, there might be a YouTube video where me and the Vincey V, yeah, that's correct, the Slapchop ShamWow guy, who now has a successful YouTube show called Warhammer Weekly, we discussed generic artifacts in Age of Sigmar, and I said you should just ban them. Ban them forever, they shouldn't be in the game. No arcane tome, no anything else. And he was like, no, some armies need it to get better. And the argument is if their stats are higher because they've been including stuff that isn't in their core book, then their core book is bad. You should just be like, make the actual stuff better, not some side grade. Super weird. Slapshot ShamWow, I thought he was the cleric from that One D&D movie. He also was the cleric in the One D&D. I like the Vince lore that we've got going on the show. It's great. Love that. Anyway, so this is not the straw that broke the camel's back. I promise. This is not that. Yeah, but this is from Simon. But this is something that I think a lot of people worked out early on getting the book at the weekend. This is from the new Tzeentch book, and I'll talk about some of the interactions and how it works. Okay, so this is the Disciples of Tzeentch. I can give you the 9-fold path to NPE, or negative player experience. Can't wait to play against this at every AOS event, right? Not that I think it will make it. Anyway, so you bond the Incarnate to a Magister. So there's some special rules. When you bond an Incarnate to a Magister, it's bonded. Only that can give it command abilities, etc., etc. Like, you can only give it command abilities from your bonded character and other things. And you get +1 to cast if it's a wizard, wizard within 12 inches, whatever. Starts out at level 2, the Incarnate. The important part is when you charge it in, when you kill the bonded character, whoever it's bonded to, it goes wild. And it gets a couple of things. It naturally then gets run and charge. It naturally gets +1 to hit to all of its attacks, which is really good for it as a unit. But also, it treats all models as enemies. So if you end up in a fight near it, it might attack you. However, it also means you can eat your own endless spells. Because what you can't do, so it's got a monstrous action, which is something you do at the start of the combat phase. It's got a unique monstrous action where it can try to eat an endless spell. What it does, it rolls over the casting value of the endless spell, and if it manages to do that, it goes up a level. If it rolls below it, then it fails and it goes down a level. Starts at level 2, max at level 3, yeah, and it dies at level 0. Okay, now Tzeentch have got a new thing in their new Tzeentch book, where what they can do is they can teleport. No, turn 1, they automatically cast an endless spell. You can't stop it, you can't change it, you can't unbind it, and you can't unbind it in the first turn. It can't be dispelled by any purpose in the first turn. Nothing can be done to stop it. And I think now you're seeing the interaction. Okay, so you bond the Incarnate to a Magister. The Magister casts Burning Sigil pre-game. Nothing you can do to stop it. The Magister blows himself up turn 1 with Destiny dice. So this is something that Daniil and Tom Gilboy from the Bad Moon Loons, the Oppenheimer of Age of Sigmar, did the first weekend that this was out. So they played Hallow Heart, where you can take D6 mortal wounds and also stab yourself if you're apologies for the imagery on that, but can effectively do wounds to yourself if you take a, what is it called? Not a shadow elf, a dark elf sorceress. Dark elf sorceress, thank you. She can then kill herself, and then what happens is when she dies, obviously the Incarnate goes wild. Then you can eat your own endless spells. It's the same thing. However, in the Hallow Heart version of this list, when you eat the endless spell, it goes away. However, with the new Tzeentch rules, you can't get rid of it. So, the Magister casts the Burning Sigil pre-game. The Magister blows himself up. That's on his War Scroll. If you use 2 doubles, so if you cast on a double, it blows himself up. The Incarnate goes wild. Yeah, so it's now wild, right? And it's not wild like an 18 to 30s holiday. This is wild like 10 years of alcohol addiction and PTSD wild, right? Make a spawn in their army with a sigil, yeah? Charge the sigil with the enemy Incarnate. So what you do, the sigil's in the opponent's army, you charge the Incarnate in, you use the monstrous action and go up a level, so you're now level 3, but guess what? It doesn't be unbound because it can't be unbound by any means. Okay, so that's turn 1. Then your opponent charges you, drops your Incarnate down a level, no problem. You monstrous action and eat the sigil again. It's still not unbound, yeah? And you still have a level 3 Incarnate, and your opponent can do nothing about it. Okay? Right? Right, anyway. And that's it. And that's it. Now, that isn't the straw that broke the camel's back, because this is something, as I've stated, has been done in Age of Sigmar for ages already in Hallowheart. With Tzeentch, it adds a nice, unique mechanic where you then also don't get rid of the spell. Yeah, and I also, like Yindaka says in the chat, I don't think it'll actually last long as an ability. Like, I think that's something that should get... Yeah, this is Gary Busey at a rave. Correct. That's where we are. There's no guarantee of casting on doubles. There are Destiny dice, so at least it's not guaranteed. It's Destiny dice. So thanks to some Norwegian dude for donating a gift sub to Hams fan. Oh, that's great. Love that. This is kind of gotcha. That put me off going to large events, to be honest. Okay, so this isn't gotcha. That's the other thing that, like, someone said. Someone described this as unfun. Like, the problem is when you give players rules, they'll play within the bounds of the rules. This is absolutely legal. As I said, people have been doing this since the first week of the Incarnate being released, that rules interaction. Yeah, they've been able to create and do that already. And there is an inherent risk, right? The sigil, for example, is cast on a 5. Now, I think the numbers are, like, there's an 18% chance that you'll roll below a 5 on 2d6. So there's a chance that it doesn't actually go your way. So 20% of the time, you'll actually go down a level. So your combo doesn't necessarily work. But understand that some of the people talking about doing these interactions are some of the loveliest people that you can possibly meet. Like, they really are. Like, you'll have a really tough time. Simon, who wrote this out, for instance, and Owen, who shared it, yeah, and me, who'll use it, right? Are great people, right? Great people, lovely to play Warhammer against, right? The interactions that exist because the game company allows it to happen. And inherently, that's my major issue, having just reviewed the Tzeentch Battle Tome. It's lazy. Like, it doesn't take long to understand the interaction. And in Games Workshop's favour, they've also very recently started to be fairly proactive about these things. Purple Sun, as an example, was something that people didn't like. I love the Purple Sun. It was wild. It was stupid. Like, it definitely created feel-bads in-game, but then losing makes you feel bad, right? Create some feel-bads, and it was like a disaster. But, like, that's okay. Like, then they changed it. They were like, do you know what? Auto-killing things was bad if it's like a god, but if it's got less than 9 wounds, you can auto-kill it with the sun, right? And you're like, actually, that's pretty good. Okay, fine. Like, I didn't love it, if I'm honest, but it was fine. They changed it a little bit. It's fine. Like, whatever. I liked the chaos before. I liked the chaos. The chaos was funny. The chaos was good. Yeah, this was really fun. But Games Workshop, to their favour, have done kind of okay. But I really feel like that a lot of this stuff can be approached before the game actually happens, before any of this. Like, they can give this stuff to people like me, not that they should give it to me, because I will never sign an NDA, but they can give it to people who are like me, yeah, and then they can just be like, oh, here's all the silly things you can do, and then they can just be like, cool, we'll change that. The problem is they're a slave to their printing process. They are, like, they're so adherent to their printing. Like, you can only, if you don't know, you can only buy books physically. You then get numbers in the app. You get a number in the book, which gets you a code for the app. You can't buy books in the app. It's a disaster the whole way along. And because of that, this stuff goes to preprint months before they let anyone read it fully. And then when they finally let someone read it fully, it takes... This is... What are we on, Tuesday? Like, I spoke about this list on Saturday. Like, that's how fast people are able to put these interactions together. But don't think that the people who put these interactions together are bad people. They are not bad people. They're great people. They understand the game. You can't say to someone, I can't believe you used your queen in chess to do this queenie shit. That's what queens do. Like, that's how things work. Like, you use the mechanics of the game. It's not bullshittery. It's just understanding how one unit works and how another unit works and how they interact. And the understanding's half the battle, because it does a couple of things. It helps Games Workshop maybe manage their game if they get around to it. Would have liked them to get it done beforehand. But us as a community, thank you to Nurgle Matthew. Nurgle Matthew, you donate £7, and that is lovely of you, Nurgle Matthew. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, nerf queens. Exactly. Yeah. Like, no one ever said nerf Gandalf, right? In Lord of the Rings. I I know that some drama with 40k playtesters. They cancelled the playtest program. Purpose on increased the risk of taking some high cost models. It was fine. I agree with Ham's fan completely. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And no, don't hate anything. Like, just be conscious of it, I guess. Hate's just a terrible thing to carry around. Like, who cares? Like, but boredom is not the thing to carry around. And that's where, thank Craig Bear, thanks for subscribing. That's where I'm at. I'm bored of the Incarnate. I don't hate it. I just like, whatever. I'm just bored of it. I've used it. I've played against it. It's just boring. It's just like, I want to play against an army made of the army's models. I don't want to play against, I'm very close to also saying, like, I think allies should go out the game. Just get that out as well. Like, it's kind of fun. Like, it is. But I'm also like, just get it out of it. Like, because you want to, like, the game's great. I was messaging my friend Owen just this morning, and I was saying, do you know what? Age of Sigmar is great. It's electrifying. Like, it's so thrilling. Yeah, like, I've been in conversation with, this weekend alone, I've been in conversations with people from the Netherlands, where the Dutch live, Malta, where the Maltese live, yeah, England, America, and Australia, about the Tzeentch book and about playing it. And that's so incredibly exciting that people from all around the world can be thrilled and excited by this product, right? And all of them are just like, this is boring. Just stop it. And that's my rage. That's my anger. That's my point. Like, it's boring. It's boring. Like, and you think about other parts of the hobby. If they just kept re-releasing, like the same Black Library novel with slightly different twists, you'd be like, God, this is dull. If they kept releasing like the same minis so that you could only paint the same minis over and over, you'd be like, this is pretty dull. Like, what do you think about Battletome-specific grand strategies and tactics considered game balance fun? I think you should absolutely get rid of Battletome tactics and grand strategies, because then everyone's playing the same game. It's super weird watching someone just auto, thanks to Dave, so you can walk into Warhammer World and buy yourself an official Incarnate model. He donated £35. Oh my god. Oh my god. Thanks, Dave. That's going towards my new camera, actually. I really want a new camera, so I very much appreciate you. Thank you. It's not going towards an Incarnate, because I 3D printed one. Anyway, but Rob, people kept buying those Got Trek books. That's true. Don't. That's mean, but that's accurate. You're going to have to buy and paint one now. I already have one, fully painted, and 3D printed it. It cost like £4. I'm taking 21 Paladors to an event this Sunday. I know nothing about boredom. 3D hexes, you're a legend. That is correct. Paladors are great. And the game has been so interesting. Okay, let's talk about some criticisms. But if you get rid of it, then some of the poor performing armies won't be able to perform well. Then they don't perform well, and then Games Workshop changes their armies. They do change the points by 10 points. They'll change the points by 10 points, which will vastly change the game. Yeah, and then, or they'll do FAQ updates. Again, hilarious. Yes, Demon663. I just spoke about you a minute ago, Ryan. Love you. Remember, 6 8 players on the top table, round 5 of the Alliance teams, used book grand strats, and all the top players play Incarnates. The desire to win beats everything else, it seems. It's not the desire to win, though, right? Like, you're like, what are you going to do? If you're playing the latest Call of Duty, yeah, what are you going to take? The sniper rifle or the spoon? Like, what? You're not taking the spoon. There's going to be some weird champ who does take the spoon. Don't change. Look at Grotz. I mean, they did try to change Gits. They just didn't do a very good job of it, right? Take the spoon and then summon a sniper. Team Warhammer solves some of the problems, but not everything. I agree, it does. They won't change the points of spiders, however, as they are perfectly pointed. Spider Riders are the most perfectly pointed unit and have been for 3 years. Like, they are, in every way, the perfect unit. Ally in a sniper rifle, then Spoon does well and doesn't get updated. There's also that. When you also, allies also cover some of the problems. And it's good for them. Like, having the Kronspine Incarnate and also having allies and book battle tactics and other stuff really helps identify how the armies are not balanced in lots of ways. And again, I'm not seeking perfect balance. That's a real casual hammer, like dumb, like people don't really play the games a lot take that people don't really think about. Like skill is the number one thing for being able to play and perform well at tournaments. Yeah, next down you have a bunch of people who like don't really understand the game particularly well. Yeah, and then they just start throwing out insults at people who do understand the game really well, which is super weird. Basically, anyone who insults competitive gamers like are really like they're like those 14-year-old kids who like have the headset and are like smashing it and screaming with their controller. They're like, "You're using cheats! You're using cheats!" And it's like, no, they just read it. They did the research. Like that's what they did. They understand it. Good example would be my friend Ryan in the chat from Malta. Like we went to Worlds last year, which had 18, 20 teams of 8 players. So 100 lists, 140 lists. I don't remember. He read every single one. He annotated every list with every ability in every team. Okay? You just aren't playing at that level. And that's fine. Get drunk, have some beers, have a laugh, read directly out the book, be like, oh, I've just charged him my Lord of Change. Hope he's good in combat. Flick to the page and find out that he's not good in combat, right? And that's cool, right? Like, that's fine. Like, that's really fun, okay? I like every army with a 45 to 50% win rate with no generic anything that carries across multiple armies. Yeah, that's what I'd like. That's really easy. Just that rant reaches zenith. I got an ad for Carmen Yoga Therapy. Perfect. Generic artifacts buff things that are not needed to be buffed. Arcane Tome makes a unit a wizard. Why would you pay points for a one-cast wizard? Exactly. Generic battle tactics allows everyone to do the same thing instead of using book ones. Yeah. The bit that's really, really weird, yeah, is Bloodthirsters with an Arcane Tome. I like it's narrative dissonance. It's like, it's just weird. Anyway, so like, yeah, I tweeted out earlier that I'm just probably going to ban the book battle tactics out of Age of Sigmar. Well, not out of Age of Sigmar, because obviously I don't have any fucking control over Age of Sigmar. Out of events, that I'm running at the TSN Arena. Yeah, that's it. Like, because just the Incarnate, because I'm just like, whatever. I already banned the book battle tactics. Already banned them. And then when I go to events where they have them, it's really weird, and I hate it. Like, super weird. They had them at Alliance Open. I love Tom to pieces. I completely understand why it was there, but I hate them. I don't think they're good at all for the game. And it was just weird, and no one liked it. It was just rubbish. And I would also probably ban book artifacts, like generic artifacts as well. And I've said this time and time again. Like, just whatever. Like, the amount of times I have to read Arcane Tome, Master of Magic. Bleh. Bleh. It's just so dull. That's all I'm going to say. What about the KO battle tactics? I get in my boat and I get out of my boat. Actually, that's the only one that can stay. That's the only one that can stay in the game because it's amazing. Because then the KO player has to look you dead in the eye while they say it. And there's probably nothing that's more worthwhile than watching someone be like, I'm just going to... So I've got in my boat and that's two victory points. Is it? Is it if it's banned and you announce it beforehand, there's no issue. Yeah, of course, I agree. What about the axe kill in Fast Days? It needs to stay. Okay, that one could stay as well. I remember last comp I played at the arena. Owen simply saying his battle tactic was to have a Bone Reaper unit healed baffled me. It's like getting points for breathing. Yeah. And ultimately, like, that's what it shouldn't be. Can we keep the over-optimistic Slanesh one where I have to wound 12 separate units in a single turn with my army? Okay, all right. We're not gonna. Okay, fine. We're gonna selectively ban them. Okay, only the ones that are absolutely ludicrous. I'm in. Intern Matt says, and this is for live coverage, I also hate book battle tactics because I'm the one who has to put them on the system. I'm in. Yeah, I'm in. Anyway, like, now I've obviously recorded this as a video and as a podcast, so in the comments below, if you've watched this far, let me know what you think. Like, let me know what you think. Ultimately, those are just my thoughts. And this is one of the other things as well. I can't not be me, and I do this for a living, and I do this professionally. Well, I try to do it professionally. Like, I go to events. I do I'm the sportscaster. Like, maybe the Incarnate's fine. Like, they don't really change the rules for baseball. Although they did recently change the rules for baseball. I think we're in baseball 2.0 now. But they did change the rules for cricket. They went from test match to 2020, although they still do test match, but obviously that's just for getting drunk. Like, you know, but they don't really change the rules for most games. But they do, like, but esports do, which are a lot more. I think will eventually become the future. They like iterate, right? And they're like if you take League of Legends as an example, they've changed how the champs work. They've changed how like Baron works, if you know what I'm talking about there. They've changed how some of the environment affects the overall state of the game. And they obviously do that on other esports as well, like CS:GO, and as an example, and other stuff. They do keep changing the rules to kick. Yes, that's true, Hazel. Let's do a multi-book review. Keep, kill all the tactics and strats. Yeah, that's true. Do a multi-book review. Keep, kill all the battle tactics and strats. Okay, I'm in it. That'll be the next video. Let's do that. All right. So, well, let me know what your thoughts are. Talk to me another time. Love you, love you, love you. Just stay healthy. Stay well. The world's pretty scary, shitty place. Just fucking vibe if you get the opportunity. And none of it really matters because it's just a silly game. But also it matters loads because I care about it loads. So, whatever.